Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. This time we will be talking about my fourth match at the ETC 2023 in Amsterdam. So we have been playing against a couple of different countries and now we are facing off France. So far Team NL has secured a 12th place, I believe, in French. They were in 11th place. So we are quite decently matched up so far in power level. Yeah, my French opponent, he brought Undying Dynasties. He brought a bit of a off-meta list, I would say, with a lot of small units of Shopti archers, and then some, yeah, just a collection of different things. So he has a big unit of skeletons, or reasonably big. He has a unit of chariots, he has a unit of Necropolis Guard, and he has a unit of skeleton cavalry. Overall, I also talked to my opponent. He wasn't, in the end, that enthusiastic about his own list. And I also think that there's definitely better builds at the moment for UD. But it's why I was really curious to see, especially the Shopti archers, to see how they would perform on the table. Because I would expect that for the units, you get one hit per unit per turn, and I don't know if that's worth it or not. Then again, with Dread Elves, you're always afraid of any range damage. This is my list. For those who don't know it, I made a special video explaining the list. It still has the same pieces. Well, by now I'm not going to go over it anymore. So deployment, we are playing Refused Flank and Hold Ground. So the center circle in the middle is our objective. I believe my opponent deployed for first, but I'm not fully sure. I think he did, and then this is even after his turn 1 moves, because his turn 1 moves were not that incredible. Mostly just the skeleton cavalry that moved up together with the Pharaoh that's in the unit. So just deployment for me from left to right. I have my Dread Prince on the Raptor, I have my Hunting Chariot, my auxiliaries with Banner of Discipline, my Raptor Chariot on the hill, Thunder Pack, then auxiliaries with Cosmo Mage, Beast Breakers with Witchcraft Mage and BSB, and Crucible. The Witchcraft Mage I see is actually in the Obsidian Guard, who are next to them. Then we have the Hunting Chariot, Raptor Chariot, and the Shadow Riders. So my opponent, I believe he dropped at some point for first, and I got to counter deploy a bit, and this is what I gave him. In hindsight, I'm not too fast about this. One of the first drops, I believe, for me were the Shadow Riders and the Raptor Chariot on the right, and then a later drop was either the Obsidian Guard or some auxiliary somewhere. I wanted to basically outflank my opponent a bit, keep my Dread Prince away from his magic. Well, that I definitely managed. But I should have just put something more bulky, more beefy on the right side. Then again, I was a bit afraid of his Pharaoh on that side. But had I had the Thunder Pack, for example, on the right flank, then the match would have been quite different, I think. So right now I only have a Raptor Chariot there, and I could easily have counter-deployed a bit better against the Skeleton Cavalry. But I thought that the Skeleton Cavalry were not going to be that influential anyway, because I misvalue Skeleton Cavalry, or I'm not really impressed by them. So my opponent moves up just a little bit. For his left to right, he has the Skeleton Chariots, he has the Tomb Swarms, he has Ushapti with Halberds all the way in the back. Yes, the vultures, the Necropolis Guard, yes. Then in the back, the archers with a mage in there. Then the skeletons with a mage in there. 3 units of Shapti archers and the skeleton cav with the Pharaoh. Then for magic, he didn't really do that much. And then my first turn move is going to be like this. So he did advance a little bit with his skeleton cav. I wanted to make sure that he could not charge my Raptor Chariot. First magic phase, I believe he did get a unity of in the Virgins on my Obsidian Guard, and he also shot a bit at him. That's making the unit quite a bit. So I'm only at 11 Obsidian Guard left. That hurts. despite me trying to dispel the spell. And then, yeah, this is already. I make one big mistake this game, and the mistake you can see in this overview. So basically, the Dread Prince just wants to get close to the other stuff as possible. The reason why I put him so far on the flank is that my opponent is playing Master of Cosmology, Master Avocation, so Duskforge doesn't really help you against that. I want my opponent to mostly ignore my Dread Prince, or at least not be able to focus any spells on my Dread Prince unless he really adjusts his movement to the movement of the Dread Prince, in the sense that he would have to turn his units, yada yada yada. And I don't think he's in a good spot for that. So if I go fully over the flank, then my Dread Prince will likely arrive without any wounds on it. Then on the left side, I think everything is still fine. The Thunder Pack, they threaten quite nicely, also with Truth of Time on them. I did cast Perception of Strength on my opponent's chariots to dissuade him from charging my Raptor Prince. And then on the right side, I do flank his cavalry. The problem I have is in the middle, where there's this one item in the game which is called the Banner of the Relentless Company. I should have just turned my Beast Breakers a bit more to the right, because both my skeletons of my opponent and the Tomb Guard of my opponent, they both have a Banner of the Relentless, and I'm giving him just a sweet spot to go to get out of line of sight of my Beast Breakers. However, ETC, you play quite a lot of games, it's quite intense, it's a poor excuse. But I just missed it when we were playing. I didn't miss it in the list, but just as we were playing, I just missed that I had to angle my unit a bit more. Because just the Obsidian Guard is not going to be sufficient to grind out my opponent's unit, especially with the range damage that my opponent still can do to my Obsidian Guard. So we go to the next bit. This is a bit later in the game, end of turn 3 of UD. So on the right side, we just, we do a little bit of cat and mouse with the Scout and Cav with my Shadow Riders and his Sharp Team. In the middle, you see that the Necro Guard, they moved up to the middle. And, basically, this is the outcome of what happened with the Banner of the Relentless. My opponent's Tomb King, Pharaoh, I'm just going to get a laser pointer. The Tomb Pharaoh, he was over here, more or less, at some point, and then he could charge, because I had moved the Raptor Chariot here in the previous turn, so he had the space to go there. Maybe I shouldn't have put the Raptor Chariot just there as well. But then he could charge into the flank on 8, I think. So that was unlucky that he made that, but still a decent chance for him. And then he got the Pharaoh in the side of my Beast Breakers, the Necro Guard, just with a couple of guys in the front, but unfortunately that was sufficient for him to break my unit. And that was quite costly. The Obsidian Guard had to flee earlier because of some charge. I don't remember which charge. I don't remember which charge. Otherwise, at the top, my Dread Prince is taking care of the chariots. My Thunder Pack were being chaffed once. But this is basically the state of the board. This is not ideal, I would say, and it's definitely not as ideal as it could have been. Because if I had just turned to Beast Breakers, I would have held my battle line. My opponent could have approached with his Pharaoh, but it would not have had such an impact, I think. So what I forgot to add still here is that I am still steadfast after the combat, but my opponent with his magic, he also sniped my BSB out. So first turn, I believe he cast Haste and the Hour on my BSB, got a wound. He cast Unity of Divergence, and that also went through. I couldn't dispel anything. Second turn, he put another wound on my BSB, and then I don't know how the BSB died in the end. Maybe he did also touch the heart or something, and it also went through. Something like that. It was quite efficient removal of a BSB. So yeah, that unfortunately I had to test my steadfast on a discipline 7 without reroll. So if I had had my BSB, that would have been a 9 with a reroll. Yeah, that was a. I think if my opponent planned this, that was good planning. um, but then yeah, we're in this situation. My unit breaks. My opponent's Pharaoh overruns his Necro Guard. I believe they just reform. And then we get to this picture. So, and the Dread Elf turn 5 hits a bit later in the game. I should have taken more pictures, I just forgot. So his Pharaoh is still in combat with my crossbowman that flank charged him. The Necro Guard is still in the middle, still in combat. My Dread Prince got chaffed at some point, had an overrun of a 6 into the skeletons, which I would have gladly taken, and he rolled a 2. And that was not very nice because this position is not good. My opponent still has his Swarm, still has his Ushapti. Here on the right side, my Chariot is having a great day. He's actually still in combat now with the last Skeleton Calf. I just didn't manage to kill all of them. And then, well, the Obsidian Guard, they still rallied. So basically, points-wise, at this moment, it's not going that bad yet. And objective-wise, you can see it here down below. I have 1 objective point. My opponent has 1 objective point. This turn, he's going to get another point. So likely, he will get the objective. We'll see. Then we have the last picture of the game. So because of my lousy overrun of my Dread Prince, my opponent could charge me with the Skeletons, the Ushapti, and the Swarms. Yeah, that was sad because with the Skeletons he has 4 combat rests with 3 ranks and a banner. Then he has a flank with the Ushapti. I believe they also had a banner. So then I am down. Was that 7? 7. I do make my 4 wounds on the champion of the Skeletons because he obviously duels, and then I have to roll a minimized discipline 6 because I'm at a -3. I don't make it, unfortunately, so I run. Had I gotten the overrun, then I would have had the charge. My opponent would not have had the charge. So in this same situation, I would have only lost by 1, and quite comfortably have made that break test, I think. Well, my opponent would still have had the charge, so with the Shafty in the flank. So maybe he would have still broken my prince. But this was a bit of an unfortunate situation. As a last resort, I do try to go into the Necro Guard with my Obsidian Guard. By now there's like 10 Necro Guard and I still had, I don't know, 6, 7 Obsidian Guard left. I completely fluff, even with Perception of Strength. I do like 5 wounds or something. And honestly, I would expect something like 7 Obsidian Guard still to do more than 5 wounds, because I hit on 2+, a wound on 2+. My opponent, he does have Unity and Divergence on his own unit, so he does have a 5 of Aegis. But still, would have been nice to be able to get rid of that unit in the end. I do make also a desperate rear charge with my Shadow Riders. There was some kind of combination where I could still draw the objective, and the only downside was that if I didn't make it, that I would lose my Shadow Riders, I believe. So I believe it had to do also with the overrun into the Necro Guard. There was something, I don't remember what it was. The crossbows, they do still take out the Pharaoh, mostly because of the big flying banner, and also the occasional wound somewhere. This guy has like 6 wounds or something. It's insane. And yeah, this is the end of the game. So I was having much higher hopes for this game than it turned out. But as I said, it all boiled down to this move. with my line of sight not being able to see the necro guard after they used the banner. Whilst I could have easily, just very easily, just turned my unit a bit more. I should have. I don't know why I didn't. Honestly, I just don't know why I didn't. But it's a shame. I shouldn't have done that. So with that, my opponent made a good advantage, good use of my mistake, because I would call it a mistake, and we end up with 5 against 15 for the UD. This is the game that I feel the most sad about for the entire tournament, and well, I think you can. Well, the deployment, I should have moved more stuff on this side to counter the cavalry, because then I would have been able to push through a bit more. But I think it's partly to do with the fact that the Beast Breakers, they give the +1 advance to the Thunder Pack, so you preferably play the Thunder Pack next to the Beast Breakers. And I was kind of locked in this thinking of, oh well, then I'll just put the Thunder Pack next to my Beast Breakers, that'll be grand. Yeah, you don't have to. Like in a matchup against Scout and Cavalry with a Pharaoh with Godslayer. Godslayer doesn't really do that much against the Thunderpack because I strike first anyway. So the crew and the Thunderpack themselves, they completely annihilate a unit of Scout and Cav, even if the Scout and Cav charge me. So I should have deployed them on the right side, definitely. Yeah, I don't know why I didn't do that. Anyway, that is gonna be the outcome of this game. Congrats to my opponent for making good advantage of the mistakes I made, and yeah, I had a lovely game. I still think that this army is not that great, and I know he agrees. So next ETC we might be playing again. I don't know. In that case, I think it's gonna be a tougher matchup for me. But then again, I apparently I can also lose in a better matchup. Thank you for watching, and I will see you then next time.